U.S. President Donald Trump is in the news again, bashing wind and solar. He's done everything he can to basically kneecap the industry. He's canceled wind projects, some of them 80% complete. He's gutted federal programs and policies to support them, whatever he can do. Here's some of the funny things he said. When the wind doesn't blow, you can't watch TV. Windmills kill all the birds. No, it's cats, actually. Wind turbine noise causes cancer. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Not according to the doctors that I've talked to. So anyway, all of that is kind of comical in a sense, but he's creating real problems within the U.S. power sector. Now, I've interviewed a number of U.S. Utility executives, and here's the problem they're up against. Data centers, electrification like EVs, and so on. The U.S. power sector is expecting demand to go up 3 to 4, even 5% a year. And some regions are into the double digit increases. I mean, that's how fast electrification is happening. So where were they going to get all this extra power from? Well, they thought wind and solar, but now that that's a problem, uh, let me run you through their calculations. Coal, nobody wants it. Everybody's closing down their coal plants as fast as they can. Gas plants got lots of natural gas. The problem is if you ordered a combined cycle gas turbine today, you might get it in 2031, 2032. What about hydro? It takes 10, 15, 20 years to build. What about nuclear? About the same time, and they always run over budget and over cost. I mean, there's the only thing that can be added in the short term is wind and solar and batteries. And Donald Trump has done them a dirty, but they have to do something. And so I asked Ed Hirs, who's an energy economist at the University of Houston, what the U.S. plans to do about this.
The president is again kind of stuck with only looking at this week or next week and not looking at the long run. Yeah, the Pennsylvania Energy Summit some weeks ago, he was there when they announced 92 billion of new industrial investment in electricity intensive business. And that's because the Marcellus and the Utica shale positions or shale plays are there. So a lot of gas, but again, we got a lag time between starting a project and getting a gas turbine unit delivered. 5 years. I've seen 7 years. We've seen cost numbers more than double what they were 4 years ago. Exactly. So President Trump, I guess, just put a stop order in on the Ørsted wind farm offshore in the Atlantic. I think he's prohibited wind and solar farms on federal lands, or at least the start build, if you will. That doesn't relate to what the states can do, obviously. During Trump 1.0, a huge amount of progress was done with wind and solar farms. Without it, Texas would not be very functional. And yes, wind and solar benefit from production tax credits, from investment credits. Keep in mind, oil and gas does too. Those have been around for 100 years. Congress lets these out, and so it's not apples to apples at all. But what we get down to is solar has a lot less cost of operation because of no fuel cost and minimal labor cost. So on a day-by-day basis, that's going to undercut anything where you have to pay for fuel and labor. And batteries, assuming the technology continues to increase, and I'm not an engineer or a battery technician, we're going to get to the point where the incumbent generators, we're going to close more and more of the coal plants. We are closing gas plants. The president has required and issued national security edicts, I guess, keeping some power plants online. This is costing consumers in Texas, Pennsylvania, Jersey, California. Um, it's costing the consumers a lot more money to pay for these plants that the operators would have otherwise closed.
Now, the Biden administration applied tariffs to Chinese solar panels and wind turbines and batteries. And if I understand correctly, Trump has raised those. Uh, Does that raise the cost of wind and solar, the wind,
Yeah.
solar, and batteries? Does it make them prohibitive?
No.
Or are there American suppliers now in the market? And does it matter if the government is subsidizing? Can the wind, solar, and batteries they make a profit without government subsidies?
Yes, it can. But again, keep in mind that most of the wind and solar farms built for the prior 15 years were built with power purchase agreements. And the municipalities, the governments, the corporations who were buying these weren't always driven by price considerations. They were driven by a lower carbon footprint, for example. And so implicitly assuming a price of carbon. I think the tariffs on solar panels are now 250%, but you know the cost of these panels has been driven down so dramatically over the last 10 years that they can still and will continue to be profitable because on a day-by-day basis, once the capital's in the ground, whether it's for solar, wind, nuclear, natural gas, it's a sunk cost. And if we have, as we do most of the year, more than enough supply to meet the average daily needs, those low cost generators, including wind, solar, and batteries, will have an ability to undercut anybody who has to pay a fuel and a labor cost.
So is it fair to say then that you're expecting that wind, solar, and batteries will be the primary means of new power generation to meet this expanding demand?
Yes, that's where we're going.